friend.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good.
So tell me about this Uber story. What's going on?
So, I worked Tuesday night, the night before the 4th, and I left work pretty late because we were actually really busy for the night, for the 4th, so everybody had the next day off. And, but I called an Uber to go home, and normally it's like, anywhere from $21, $28, $30, like cheaper to take an Uber home than park downtown Nashville.
Right.
So I did that and took my Uber ride home at 4:11 in the morning and was charged my normal $28. Had a good experience with my driver and everything like that. And I'm sitting on the couch. I'm watching Netflix, and I see that Uber tells me that I've paid $80 for a ride while I'm sitting on my damn couch. So,
Okay.
I was like, excuse me, what ride am I taking? Because I'm pretty sure I'm not in an Uber right now. And so, yeah, I apparently paid $80 to take an Uber trip.
So that's...
a block in downtown Nashville. A block.
It was only for a block?
A block.
Do you have...
One block.
Do you have screenshots of this stuff in the Uber app?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. I do have screenshots. And this Uber ride took place while I was in my actual Uber that I took that night to my home in Kingston Springs.
So you were in an Uber already, and then another Uber ride happened on your account while you were in the first ride?
The first one supposedly took place from 4:08 to I think 5:11, and my actual Uber ride took place from 4:11 to 4:39.
Weird. Well, first of all, that's crazy. So have you talked to Uber yet about this?
No, because have you ever tried to get a hold of Uber? It's actually impossible.
Yes,
because
I have.
You can't
it's
find
horrible.
a phone number for them. And if you do find a phone number for them that's posted on Reddit,
Uh-huh.
so what's crazy is all of a sudden it just says call failed. It doesn't even ring. It just says call failed and your phone hangs up on you.
Right. I think I know how to get in touch with somebody at Uber, at Uber Corporate.
Well, that would be wonderful because I just keep getting these generic responses from Uber saying this was a legitimate charge. I'm like, literally how, sir, was this a legitimately charged?
Wait, so are you text support or
Yeah, I've been in a support, so there's in the app, I don't know if anybody knows this that takes an Uber because probably many people don't have an issue, but there's actually a support option in your Uber app, and you can go in and you can look at all of your rides and you can look at your receipts for each ride. And so when you do that, you can report any issue if you felt unsafe, if your driver was unprofessional or anything like that. You can check all of these things. There's an option where you can check where it's I did not take this ride, or this wasn't me and I did that. And so then they message you and they're like, no, it was you. This is a legitimate charge. And every time I message them and I send them screenshots of my actual Uber ride that I took that night and the one that I didn't take, they're like, no, this is a legitimate charge. I'm like, but it wasn't. I spent $100 with Uber in one night on one ride, but technically two rides, but one I didn't take.
Huh. Here's what I want to do. So, can you send me the screenshots from inside your Uber app so I can see your actual ride and then the one that you obviously didn't take but were charged for?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm going to be back in Nashville tomorrow evening. And I'll start working on this.
That would be wonderful.
I mean, I don't know for sure that I can get a hold of the people we need to get a hold of, but I feel pretty confident that I can.
I mean, it would just be nice to have some actual customer service, considering I'm an actual customer that uses Uber literally multiple times a week.
You're not wrong. That's a fair point. You hear that, Uber? Actual customer service for actual customers.
Yeah, exactly. But
put that on your website.
I would be more than happy to take Lyft. which a lot of people are switching to. So
for what it's worth, I switched to Lyft months ago.
Yeah, I think that's the direction we're headed. I mean, a lot of people that I already work with are already switching to Lyft. So if that's what it needs to be, that's what it needs to be. If I'm at $80, that's fine, I guess. I mean, not really.
Yeah. Well, here's the things I'd like you to send me screenshots of. The 2 rides, and then also is it 2 different drivers for each ride?
Oh yeah, two different drivers, 2 different vehicles.
Will you open up their like driver details pane and screenshot me both of those?
I'd be more than happy to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, come on, man. We're all working hard here. Don't take my $80 from
Come
me.
on, man.
Come on, man.
Okay, well, yeah, well, I'm sorry about your $80, and I'm gonna, hopefully we can figure out how to get it back real quick.
Awesome. That would be great.
Tight. Okay, well, send me those screenshots, and we'll figure it out.
Okay, cool.
For the record, this episode is not sponsored by Lyft or Uber or anybody. Nobody's paying me anything to say anything about anybody. I just like Lyft better because they just have a better social track record. Anyway, we're going to figure this out. How's it going? Doing well. Is there someone here that could answer some like press type questions for me?
Press type questions?
Yes.
You will have to speak originally right here. There's a website or someplace that direct you.
Okay, cool.
Just a second.
Okay. Hi. Do I talk to you about like press stuff? No? Awesome. Thank you. How's it going? I'm Scott.
That's me, Ben. How can I help?
So I have a show that I do on YouTube where I just kind of like chase down funny little stories that I find on the internet. And I had someone submit one to me about a ride that they took last week. Okay. And I was going to see if I could ask someone a couple of questions maybe about it.
Okay. So any kind of like press type of inquiries, go to press@uber.com. That's our central team takes care of all of that, thankfully. That way I'd be like, should we? I don't know. Like,
yeah, I figured there was probably something like that.
Yeah, just email any questions you have to press@uber.com, and someone will respond to you from there with whatever answers and that kind of stuff, and then move forward with all of that. So
before I do that, and this is just for my own curiosity, have you ever heard of a ride? So basically the story is she is a bartender downtown. But she lives like 30 minutes out of town. She took like a 30-minute ride home the other day, which is like, it's usually about $30, $35.
Yeah.
And then when she got home, she saw that there was another ride on her account from 3 minutes before her ride started that was a block and a half long. It was $85, and where it says like the $6.55 minimum charge, it was like 51 something or other. And we've been in contact with like customer support and all that, and they're adamant that it's a valid charge and that there's nothing that they can do about it. Which is like, obviously there's some sort of like glitch or hack or something weird is going on. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Not to my knowledge. Okay. I will say that folks have had, like forget a trip, but if she's driving home from work, that's a whole.
And it was like, the thing is like on the map, like you can see it. It's literally like a block and a half, and it's less than 3 minutes.
Now we've definitely had short trips go up in fare a whole lot. Sure. Again, just because of surge.
There's no surge pricing or anything on the receipt. There's nothing. Yeah. It's so bizarre.
It seems very, very odd. I mean, with her being a rider account, I have very little access to rider accounts, like our offices for drivers.
Right.
But yeah, between you and I would definitely push back on like.
Yeah, for sure.
this isn't right.
No, yeah, there's something.
You can say I just took another one right after this to go home or whatever, but I've never heard of that to my knowledge. But again, I get very little about rider side issues. Right. We have a whole other department that takes care of that. So.
Is there a way through, if I talk to the press officer, I can get back in touch with customers? They've stopped responding altogether now. I think I've annoyed them to no end. But do you think they can get me in contact with the driver that's on the funny charge? No way? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No shot.
I don't know.
Sure, but like
ask that
policy-wise, no.
But I can tell you on our end, like we never divulge. The same way we never divulge a rider.
Well, I know sometimes like you can like, there's a way like it'll give you like an anonymous like burner phone number that you can text if you like left an item or something.
What happens at that point? Our support team reaches out to that driver based on like your recent trips and things. says, hey, can we have this person contact you? And that's where that anonymous number is given out at that point.
Right.
That anonymous number also exists when you're on trip, or if you, so many minutes after you've ended the trip, so you're like, oh crap, I left my bag. Hey, real quick.
But that expires after a certain. Okay.
Yeah, just again that exists for that reason, so you can like, hey, I left something in your car. Can you turn around real quick, come back, or whatever it may be.
Okay.
But that goes away to again protect the privacy of the driver and the rider both. I mean, that's really why that. I highly doubt they're going to connect you to that person.
I doubt they will too, but it'd be cool if they would.
The only chance I could ever see of something like that happen is where they reach out to the driver and say, hey, this person's trying to contact you, and let that person make contact, because that's their choice at that point, right?
Right.
But we would never give you their name, phone number, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that would be a huge privacy
Yeah, that'd be an issue. I see that.
violation on our end. Just whether it's legal or not, I don't think it's the issue. It's just it's not the right thing to do.
No, of course not. No, of course not. No, and I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
But, okay, cool.
To the point where I can't even look and see what driver, like I can't access my account, period. You know, I have access to my account. I can't go on my account and look up a recent driver from a year ago, even though I have the ability to.
Right, like you can see the ride and his their first name or whatever.
If I do that, I get fired.
Right.
Hands down. The same way I can't go and look and see where does Taylor Swift go on her trips when she's Ubering, right?
Sure.
Could I look up her account? Absolutely. I'd get fired for it.
That's interesting,
in a heartbeat, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Our privacy guidelines internally prevent all of that stuff. And again, whether the legal side of that is there or there.
Right.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, I'm from Texas as a company. It's a little bit CYA as well. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as any questions like specific about that trip in question, reach out to Press at Uber.
It's just press at uber.com.
Yeah, press at uber.com. Oh, cool, man.
I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, no problem at all.
What was your name?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Anytime, like, I wish I could give you more info.
No, I appreciate it. I figured that was mostly the answer I was going to get. I just wanted to come down and check on my bases.
Well,
do you mind if I just like film a quick scan of the building? No?
We don't allow.
Absolutely not?
You can do the outside because I can't control that.
Sure.
Do anything inside.
Okay,
yeah,
I get
we don't
that.
allow any kind of photography just for account security, those kind of things.
I get that. That's
So.
fair. All right. Thank you,
Cool,
man.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
So, something I think I did a pretty bad job of explaining in the last few episodes is that I travel a lot for work. And so the next 8-9 weeks or so of this series is going to be moving around a lot. I'm going to be in different hotels and cities and doing all that. So that's all going to change. But the plan is that the content is going to remain relatively the same. So I called a few different numbers, and I got nothing. They don't even ring. These are all numbers that I found on Reddit and different places to try to get the person at the Uber corporate office. The phone doesn't even, it doesn't ring. So it just hangs up. So I guess what I'm gonna have to do is email, press at uber.com or whatever Brian told me to. We're gonna try that today. I actually have to be back down in the lobby in 2 minutes to go. To go start work for the day, but we're gonna email them in a little bit. I have an interesting theory about what's happening with Uber right now, and I'm gonna tell you about it later because we don't have time right now. Okay, so it's been 3 days since I emailed Uber, and honestly I was about to scratch the story for the week because I'm running out of time. But I just got a response from Melanie, who works in the security office doing communications, and she tried to answer my question via email, and I asked if I could call her, and she said yes, and gave me a phone number. So we're going to call her right now.
Hi, this is Melanie.
Hi, Melanie. My name is Scott. We were just emailing.
Oh, hey. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. If you could just give me like 2 seconds, I'm about to hit send on an email. I don't want to forget.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Take your time.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay.
What can I do for you?
Well, before we get any further into this, I just want to be upfront. So I have a show on YouTube where I kind of like find obscure little stories and pull on the thread and see if I can get to the end of it for people.
Yep.
And so I'm recording right now. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So I had someone get in touch with me about an Uber ride that they took the other night. This was, I guess, about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
And they live in Nashville, and they work downtown, and they live about 30 minutes out of town, and every night when they get off work at about 4 a.m., they take an Uber home. And it's usually about 30 minutes. It's like, about $30. But the other night, she took her Uber home, and aside from the normal charge that she would normally have, there was another charge from the same night for a ride that was 3 minutes long and went about a block and a half, and it was $85. And she had contacted support, and they assured her that it was a valid charge and that there was nothing they could do. And the more I've dug into this, the more I think, because I've read about a thing called ghost. Go ahead.
Yeah, they called it a ghost ride. So I actually think that this is something different, and the fact that it's such a short trip and such a high amount, like that raises a red flag for me.
Right, me too.
And it's so. To be honest, our frontline support representatives intentionally do not have access to all the user data that's at Uber.
Oh, okay.
So they're trained and prepared to handle like the most common cases.
Right.
But we do want to make sure that they don't have access to everything, right?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, so this sounds like an unusual case in my experience. If you have this person's the phone number or the email address for their account that you could send to me, I can look into it with my fraud team, and we can figure out exactly what happened. This sounds like the kind of thing that should get refunded.
Okay, cool.
But I would actually like to know what caused it, because we want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Right, for sure. Yeah, I'd like to figure out what caused it too. That's kind of my whole angle on this thing.
Like I've never heard of a 3-minute trip.
Right, it's because
costing $80.
Exactly. Yeah, it started at 4:08, and then her actual legitimate ride started at 4:11.
Yeah, and you know what? To be honest, it could be as simple as like there's a bug in the system.
Right.
That happened too, and I'd like to get that bug removed. So
yeah, for sure.
If you have that information about that writer and that she's comfortable with you sharing it with me, I'm happy to look into it and actually figure out what caused it.
That would be so awesome. Yeah, I have all of her information. I'll email it over to you.
Okay, awesome. So what will actually happen is one of our reps will contact her directly and actually talk her through all of the details and explain to her what's happening.
Okay.
And then in that conversation, we'll get consent with her to share it with you, knowing that it will end up on your show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'll get in touch with her and let her know to expect that.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I'd say that went pretty well. Melanie seems wonderful and like she's going to figure it out for us. And yeah, hopefully we're going to have an answer sooner than later, because it is Sunday and this has to go up Wednesday. And we still don't have an answer yet.
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you. Can you hear me all right?
I can.
Wonderful.
It's been a few minutes since I've been on YouTube, so this will be great.
Perfect. Sorry, I'm having there we go. I'm on some kind of sketchy internet right now, so I might be going in and out, but I should at least have your audio.
Okay. I mean, I'm sitting in a phone booth, so...
Oh, wow.
This will be great.
It sounds great. So your email that you sent me last night was so interesting. I still happen to be awake, and I saw that, and I was like, like so interested in what exactly happened and how you guys figured out what it was.
Yeah. So essentially what happens is there's a process within, like on the Uber platform for drivers, where if somebody like throws up in your car, or if they make a giant mess,
right,
you can report that, and then like the rider is then charged for a cleaning fee, right, for making that mess in your vehicle. And there's a couple of ways that and this started like several years ago that we offered that to drivers. And so then, of course, naturally, as soon as you create something new, somebody finds a way to abuse it, right? And so what we found is that some drivers were like pretending like messes, like they either make the mess themselves, or sometimes they just flat out lie and like pull images from the internet, right? So we had to build process and systems to be able to detect when those are like fraudulent claims. Otherwise, as you saw, that gets passed on to the writer. When we went back and looked at this particular instance, and I think I mentioned on the phone, our frontline support teams don't have access to all of our systems, which from a privacy perspective is really important. We don't need individual support reps with access to, every piece of information that there is about a person, right?
Right.
And so as a result, if you are, as a writer contacting support, that rep does not have access to like the driver's account and the whole history of the driver. Sure. Right. And so in this case, they made their decision based on what they knew about the rider, which is, this is a very familiar route. They take it all the time. There really wasn't anything about the ride itself from the rider's perspective that was different. Right. Except the fact that now there was a cleaning fee, which statistically speaking is completely feasible. Sure. But when we looked back at it with our security and fraud team, we were able to look at the driver side of it. And what we saw was that this particular driver had reported multiple cleaning fees on the same day.
Oh, right? Wow. Like he had more than one that day?
When somebody throws up in your car, you don't get back on the road right away.
Right. Yeah.
And so we were able to figure out that this person had been filing, like made up claims about cleaning fees in their vehicle. And so in this situation, we were fortunate where, we just deactivated that person from the platform. What I don't know is like chronologically where this particular instance fell in their day of activities. Sure. So this may have been the first one that they tried to do and all the subsequent ones were blocked, or it may have been somewhere in the middle. That I don't know. So what I think happened, and I'll have to go back and actually confirm this, but what it sounds like happened is that driver for the first one, since he was just being like super sketch, indicated that the ride had started when he actually hadn't picked anybody up yet. And then drove for a couple minutes so that he could end the trip and then charged the cleaning fee.
That is so wild. Oh my gosh. All right. I get what I see what's happening now. I understand it.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally somebody who's trying to make money off of not actually driving.
Right. Okay. Because the thing that struck me as so weird about it was like, not even that it was a 3-minute trip that was $84 or whatever, but that it was like a block and a half. Like it seemed so like.
Right. It seems like somebody who was like start trip, because the driver controls when the trip starts and ends, right? Yeah. They have the button in their app that's like, I've picked up the rider, start the trip. And so it sounds like somebody who was like, I've picked up the rider, even though they hadn't, couple of minutes, just long enough to say there was a trip, and then ended it, and then charged a cleaning fee.
That's wild. All right. Yeah, that's got to be it. Yeah, that makes sense. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Any other questions I can answer for
I don't think so.
I'm really, first of all, I'm really glad that you're doing this show, and I'm appreciative that you sent us that email so that we could look into it.
Well, I'm really glad that you guys, that you in particular got back to me. So I've been trying to get a hold of people at Uber. I was about to give up on the story because I was getting literally nowhere. I couldn't get in touch with anyone. And then I went to a like a drive. I forget what they're called, like the Waypoint office.
Green light hub?
Yes, a green light hub. And I talked to a guy there that was super helpful. He obviously didn't, he wouldn't answer any questions, but he was like, email this email address and they might get back to you. And then here you are. So, yeah, I'm glad that this turned out to be a much more clear answer than I thought I was going to get. So.
And you know what? It's typical. I think one of the things that we're trying to get better at, and where I personally am spending a lot of time, is our communications to like riders and drivers about these types of things, right?
Sure.
Like this is something that could we have made the experience better for the rider if we were just more communicative and explained more in our communication?
Sure.
Right. Could we? I think there are a couple instances where things can happen with your account, and because of everything that we read in the news or everything that we see on TV, our imaginations run wild, and we're like, oh my God, conspiracy theory.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is great and fun for like 5 minutes until you realize that like, oh, this is actually somebody's like account or money or data or something that we're talking about, right? There are real world consequences to these types of things. And so educating people and helping them understand exactly not only what's happened, but what can you do to protect yourself? Are there lessons to be learned that you can use on other online accounts? I've been doing this for more than 10 years, and the advice that I give people on protecting their Uber account is the exact same thing that I would tell you on how to protect your email and how to protect your bank account. And so there's a lot of cross-functional type advice and security tips that people can use like all over the internet. And I think sometimes just communicating better and being more clear about what's happening. Even though we're able to go back to a rider and say like, hey, you've been refunded, like that's great, but they still appreciate knowing what happened.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And understanding that like you have their back, and that there are teams dedicated to working on these types of things, and you're not out there in limbo all by yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And something that I think Uber catches a lot of flack for as a company, and I think a lot of tech companies in general catch flack for, is it feels sometimes like it's hard to get a hold of a person. Even if you have an email address like contact@whatever.com, it feels like I could be talking to an algorithm for all I know. So I understand a lot of people's frustration with that. Whereas I emailed you, you immediately emailed me back. I asked if I could talk to you on the phone, and you said sure. So I think, and I know Uber, like specifically as a company, has been really working on like their communication and their transparency, and yeah, like I said.
Yeah, and I think, and to be honest, like customer support is something that we're very aware of as an area where we need improvement.
Right. Yeah, you also have to toe the line, because like you can't just have a phone number in the app for people to call, because then you're going to have people calling saying, I don't like the music my driver is playing. So you have to. I understand there needs to be like some sort of like escalation barrier, or so, you know what I mean?
Well, and I think as of right now, like the balance that we've tried to strike is to make it easy to get a hold of the support team. If you have an account. One of the challenges that you have when you just have like an 800 number posted on the internet is that literally anyone in the world can call that number. And that can honestly make it really difficult for legitimate customers to get a hold of your support reps if they're constantly having to sift through all the spam.
Yeah.
And so we tried to make it easy for people to contact our support team. There's a help center in the app. You can go to help.uber.com. But I think where the tricky part comes from, and where we're really focused on making improvements, is when you get an answer back that's either unexpected or unsatisfactory, what then do you do? Right? Yeah. And in this case, the answer that came from our support team was not correct the first time.
Yeah.
Right? We had to pull in a team that had access to that driver side data to be able to actually analyze what had happened. And so if you're the rider in this case, I completely understand that it's frustrating when the answer you get doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah, sure.
Right? And so, that's the process that we're working on, is we want our riders and drivers to be able to contact our team easily. you know, and it's a process that continues to iterate and that gets better. You know, when these instances come up, you know, fortunately, I can go back to that specific like support person and help them understand exactly what happened, so that next time, you know, if this comes up again, they now know that they can tap into this other team that can help them find the answer, right? And it's a learning process. I think what a lot of people often forget is Uber went from a small company to a very big company very quickly. And that means that we have big tech company expectations, but yet some pieces of our company that are still going through that growing process. And like I said, it's something that I personally spend a lot of time working on, is how do we communicate these issues better to our riders and drivers, so that, you know, what I don't want is for people to feel frustrated that they don't have the information that they need. Right? There's no reason why people should be frustrated when it's just a matter of explaining to them what's happening.
I'm really happy with how this turned out, and thank you so much for your help. Like I said earlier, I really didn't expect to be able to get a hold of a person at Uber, and you've been wonderful and very helpful.
Yeah, of course. And if anything else ever comes up, even if it's not Uber related, if it's security, privacy, scam, fraud, whatever, like I said, I've been doing this for more than 10 years.
Yeah,
so
can I put you on the list?
What was that?
Can I put you on the list as my security fraud expert?
You certainly can, and if it's not something that I can answer, I will connect you to somebody else.
You're the best.
So you should never have a security, fraud, privacy question that can't be answered ever again.
Perfect. That is so wonderful to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, I think that's it from me. When I'm finished up, I'll send you a link or something.
Okay. Cool. Sounds great.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah. Take care, Scott.
Bye-bye.
Bye.